Yo, welcome to Millennial Screenshot YouTube. Today, I want to go over Arceus VSTAR a little bit and just talk about why this card is being so hyped up as we head towards Brilliant Stars. It's still a few weeks away, which I know is incredibly disappointing because the current format, while not bad, it kind of feels a little played out. But as people, other content creators are playing tabletop with the new set, people are coming into Twitch chat and stuff like that and asking about Arceus and all this. I want to talk about why everyone is so hyped for this card, either just in case you're not entirely sure, or maybe there's some stuff that you're kind of missing when you look at this card, because literally everything on this card is very good. Before we get started, though, I did the podcast with LDF a few weeks ago, and he dropped several ideas on me I was not expecting. So if you have any ideas for Arceus V-Star, please share them in the comments. I'm super curious what people are thinking with this card, because the stuff I was thinking is very different from the stuff everyone else was thinking. And that's one of the reasons why this card is so good. It is so flexible. We're going to actually start in the bottom, and then we're going to work our way from the top down. The very bottom is one of the best parts of this card, the V-Star rule. When your Pokemon V-Star is knocked out, your opponent takes 2 prize cards. Why is that so good? Because 2 is less than 3. I know. Shocker there. But the current VMAX meta, your opponent takes 2 knockouts and they win the game, or they take 1 knockout, knock out a Crobat, knock out a single prizer, and they win the game. The V-Star rule means they have to go through multiple of these Arceus V-Stars in order to actually do anything, or you can go through 1 Arceus V-Star and 2 VMAXs. You can really manipulate the prize trade and say, my opponent isn't going to win by taking 6 prizes. They're going to have to take 7 or 8 prizes to win the game. And this prize manipulation is one of the easiest ways to turn a matchup you should lose into a matchup you're going to win. In fact, there will be a Get Good Academy video on that coming up. Be sure to check out that playlist if you haven't yet. Now let's go to the top, because this number right here plays off of the V-Star rule. 280 HP. Ooh, we can't. There's my mouse. 280 HP is a relatively massive number. It's less than VMAX Pokemon, but you give up 1 less prize card. It is way more than Vs. You'd have to put a Cape of Toughness onto a V Pokemon to have that much HP. Back when that was kind of a thing, Suicune was really good before Fusion Strike came out, and then it kind of fell out of favor, but they played the Cape of Toughness, and then stuff like Single Strike was playing Tool Jammer or Tool Scrapper to counter it. So that's pretty counterable. You can't counter this 280. That 280 number is going to stay there. You could play a Big Charm. Suddenly you have VMAX HP. Are you going to do that? I don't know. Probably not, but also maybe. Who knows? But 280 is a very big number for a 2 prize Pokemon to have to get through. The other thing in the top right is this colorless icon, and that also has to do with the attack. One of the reasons why this card is so good is it's splashable in every single deck in the format. Now, obviously, there's some like Single Strike. Probably not going to play Arceus in Single Strike because you want the Single Strike energy to get use. Probably not going to play in Fusion Strike because, again, the Fusion Strike energy is kind of super useful, but you could. You could use this card in a Mew deck. You could use this card in a Gengar VMAX deck. You could, because it can work with any colored energy. The fact that this card can have a water type, a dark type, a fire type, it could be in every single one of those decks, and there very well might be a tier 1, 2, or 3 Arceus V-Star deck for every single type in the current format is so good. Arceus also works with dragon types. Dragon types have the most awkward attack costs. Duraludon is fighting and metal, and you're like, why am I playing 2 different types of energies? That kind of feels like a potato sometimes. Arceus can fix that. Arceus can take any of those energies, and it can accelerate any of those energies as well. So massive HP, 2 prizes, can be splashed into absolutely anything. Attack does 200 damage. That's good. 200 will not KO most Vs. It'll KO some. You can throw in the new Choice Belt, and you're suddenly hitting 230, and you KO every single evolving V. So if you go first, your second turn, you can use the attack, KO any evolving V, and use the effect, search deck for up to 3 basic energy cards, and attach them to your Pokemon V. That includes VMAX, that includes other V-Stars. In any way you like, then shuffle your deck. I just talked about the splash ability. It can go in absolutely any deck. We have not seen a card this versatile in a while. Mew is kind of built for us. You shove all the Fusion Strike cards together, you're good to go. Every single Strike, whether it's Gengar, whether it's Urshifu, whether it's Umbreon, they're all good. But again, you got to play with Houndoom. You got to play with Urn of Vitality. You got to play with all this other stuff. Shadow Rider, you just have to play 85,000 Psychic Energies. And then you can throw in some tech Pokemon, kind of, but you're still playing a Psychic Depth because it only accelerates the Psychic Pokemon. Melanie's just going to give power to Suicune, just going to give power to, well, eventually give power to Urshifu. But Ice Rider, you don't have these splashable Pokemon. A lot of the times the decks are just kind of built for us. And Arceus V-Star being a colorless Pokemon and accelerating any basic energy type gives you the ability to play it with anything that you want. So one of the reasons this card is so hyped is not that individually it's not broken, but the splashability of it is so good. 2 prize Pokemon, you can manipulate the prize trade, high HP, colorless attack cost, accelerates any energy, can OHKO, evolving Vs with a little bit of work. And you may say, Mello, how are you going to get 3 energies on this thing on that second turn? Remember, we get double turbo energy. How are you going to get the band? Now, of course, double turbo does take a -20, so it's a little worse, and you're hitting for 180, and the band becomes 210, which is most evolving Vs, but not quite all. So you end up with this awkward thing. But how are you going to find all these cards? The V-Star power, the ability Starbirth. During your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You can only use 1 V-Star power. This card is so good. A lot of people were hyping up initially of like, oh, I can just boss for game. Yes, if you don't use your ability early, you can just go get a boss. But the reason this card is so good is, yes, the Drizzile engine can essentially do the same thing. The difference is you got to play like 85 cards in a deck to get your Drizziles out. I love the Drizzile engine. It's fun, but it's a 4/4/3 with 4 level balls, like 3 or 4 incense. It's just so much. This is just you evolve. Suddenly, you are no longer bricking again. You can just be like, oh, I'm going to go grab a research, double turbo energy, or not vitality band. What's it called? The choice belt. I'm going to go grab the choice belt. I'm going to go grab any of these other cards you want. I'm going to go grab a Pokemon to accelerate to. I'm going to go grab whatever you need. You can go get it. Let's say you already have everything. Maybe you research and you're like, oh, look, I've got all the cards. I'm so good at this game. You save it. Save it for later. Okay, this thing's going to get hit for not enough. 280 is too big of a number. 280 is not going to get knocked out by most VMAX Pokemon. Some will. That can be an issue, of course. But most VMAX Pokemon are going to hit this thing for not quite enough damage. And that's where maybe a Big Charm would be good. That way something like Ice Rider with a Choice Belt can't KO it. Who knows? That's a future meta problem. But it can often survive. They hit you for not enough. Okay, who cares? I can still Starbirth on the next turn to get what I need. Oh, I've got what I need. Cool. You just save it. You let an Arceus V-Star sit on the bench. It's a 2 prizer that's hard to knock out. They're probably not going to boss KO it. And suddenly, hey, look, I just need a boss next turn. I have my V-Star ability still there. Guess what? I'm going to win the game. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you KO this Arceus. And you can't KO this Arceus because it's a little too thick and it's on the bench. So this ability is so good. It guarantees you're not going to brick if you get an Arceus V-Star. And it can guarantee that you're going to win the game in those late game situations. Last thing, not a positive. It's weak to fighting. Not Rapid Flow. Well, G-Max Rapid Flow with some quick shootings, I guess, would finish you off. But Gale Thrust. Gale Thrust would KO you. Anything on the single strike, Urshifu would KO you, whether it is G-Max 1 blow or whether it is the V's attack. That I don't remember off the top of my head. But the cool thing about this is one of the few cards where this is bad, but you can just play other Pokemon that beat whatever you're weak to. Every other deck in the world, like I said, they're kind of built for you. You play your Psychic Pokemon in your Psychic deck. You play Fusion Strike, you play Single Strike, you play whatever. The ability to mix types is so good, and the ability to have multiple weaknesses is so good. One of the reasons why people love Single Strike so much is it just hits everything for weakness. You have a diversity of weaknesses yourself, but the deck draws like a potato. This deck is going to have that same advantage, maybe not hitting stuff for weakness. Colorless doesn't hit anything for weakness, but you'll have different types of weaknesses, which means your amount of auto losses is going to be less than all of the other decks. Most other decks are like, oh, you have the type that I'm weak to, I lose, GG, try again. This deck, that's fine. I'm just going to accelerate to stuff that isn't weak to fighting, and the rest of the game, I'm fine. I'm just going to have them attack instead, and you're not hitting me for weakness anymore. We're good to go there. So that's why this card is so good. Kind of literally everything about this card is just very, very, very good. So this is a quick rundown of why is everyone so hyped about Arceus V-Star. Hopefully it hyped you up a little bit. And I don't know, like I said, if you have any other ideas or maybe watching the video gave you some ideas, let me know in the comments. I'm super curious. LDF gave me the idea with Ice Rider that I had never thought of, which seems actually probably pretty good. And I don't know. There's probably other stuff out there that I cannot think of. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of. Like, comment, subscribe, all the other YouTube stuff, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.